My esteemed colleagues, the Vice-Chancellor brings us here under false pretenses.
A baseless accusation, Master Rossi. Return to your seat so we may continue.
He says we're here to review Fellow Quinn's conduct and suggests she's an unsanctioned ruinologist, experimenting on the Valgreave family, no less. Yet Fellow Quinn's account paints a vastly different picture. Imagine the terror of that night, of crossing paths with an apparition, of finding Tiberius Valgreave's bloody, lifeless body. Did she shriek, or howl, or run away? Did she give way to hysteria, exacerbating the family's distress? She did not. She offered them support in their time of grief. She solved problems instead of creating them. How is that not living up to the ethical standards of this guild? Her conduct epitomized our obligations as truefolk and challenges the very premise of this inquiry, which I argue serves nothing but to inflate the Vice-Chancellor's ego.
Silence, if you will, colleagues, please. Master Rossi has misjudged the scholars in this theater. He believes he can sway you with mere rhetoric, likening you to magpies dazzled by a single impassioned speech.
Far from it. I address myself to the astute and sharp-witted individuals before me. We do not need to prolong our deliberations unnecessarily.
I agree completely. So, allow me to pose one final question. If Fellow Quinn can adequately address it, we'll conclude.
We've been here for countless hours.
Then sparing a moment more should hardly be a strain.
Ask your question, Master Gates.
Agatha, we've already indulged this process more than necessary.
If one last question can put this to rest, I'm willing to risk it.
This is a mistake.
I won't tolerate speculations that cast a pall over me or my career. We have to end this.
Oh, very well.
Master Gates, ask your question.
Did you know Clawmoor Heights was afflicted with ruin before you arrived? Yes or no?
Don't answer that.
Yes or no. It's very simple. You either knew or you didn't.
It's more complicated than that.
Is it though? From your own words, Fellow Quinn, my first lessons in history were ghost stories. Stories told to you by your parents. We know your father worked at Clawmoor Heights as a stable groom. As an apprentice, you took a special interest in Tamika Maida's work after attending her lecture, The Death of Pedigree. It's common knowledge among those here that her field of expertise lies in examining the impact of ruin on Dramark history. You state Cordelia Valgreave's cause of death was sweating sickness, but then make an offhanded quip about how, as far as records are concerned, aristocrats die from everything but ruin. You led Mr. Dara to the former Lady Clawmoor's portrait, knowing well the history and layout of the manor. There, you encounter a ghost, and instead of fearing it, you follow it. And then, when you have the chance to trap it, you find yourself so overcome, you drop the key? This entity of ruin was only kept at bay after an unaffected Mr. Dara stepped in to lock it away. Fellow Quinn, you state your presence at Clawmoor Heights was purely as a tutor in residence. But isn't that the false pretense? Isn't the real truth that you've always known Clawmoor Heights was in possession of a ghost?
I had my suspicions.
This isn't the Piedmont Accord. Don't skirt the issue with semantics. Stand by your convictions, Fellow Quinn. Yes or no? Did you know there was a ghost at Clawmoor Heights?
Yes, I knew.
And is it true that a ghost can only exist where ruin is present?
That is accurate, yes.
Then why accept the contract if not to court the ruin itself? Wasn't it always your intention to study the ghost of Cordelia Valgreave?
Yes, it was.
For the 700th time, you don't need the guild's permission to study ruin.
But that's not the end of the story, is it, Fellow Quinn?
No, it isn't.
Retake your seat, Master Rossi. Our inquiry is not over.
I'll take my seat after I remind this entire chamber that your colleague, Agatha Quinn, agreed to this inquiry voluntarily. And this insinuation by the Vice-Chancellors that she's been anything but forthcoming is not only disrespectful, it's an excessive display of bias.
So noted. May we continue?
By all means.
We've already established the answer to my next question, but I'll ask it anyway. Fellow Quinn, with the Baron dead and your services no longer needed, what compelled you to stay at Clawmoor?
After Lord Clawmoor's death, my contract was effectively terminated. However, I was asked to remain.
By whom?
By Lady Redina Valgreave, the now Dowager Baroness of Clawmoor.
Studio Hermitage presents Clawmoor Heights, an Our Brilliant Ruin story. Created by Rachel J. Wilkinson.
It was a wet and foggy morning the day they placed Lord Clawmoor into the Valgreave crypt. I joined the domestic staff at the entrance outside the estate to pay my respects as the family departed. Our breath in the autumn chill mingled with the mist while, across from us, carriages lined the gravel drive. Black horses with black feather plumes and silver-buckled tack shifted anxiously as they waited for the footmen to assist the bereaved into their carriages. At the head was a hearse. In it, visible through the glass, the Baron's casket rested, draped in rich hunter-green velvet. Behind it was a second carriage with Lady Clawmoor and his children. A third held his extended family, Valgreaves, who had chosen to stay after Lady Josephine's ball. Beside the carriages, a few of the outdoor staff, including the gamekeeper and stable master, rode alongside on horseback. Armed with shotguns and torches, they acted as escorts, ready to address any trouble along the way.
Up, up!
Slowly, the procession pulled away, and we stood in reverent silence until the cortege had disappeared into the fog.
All right, everyone. Back inside.
I was packed and ready to leave and had intended to make arrangements for my departure when Lady Clawmoor's maid approached.
A moment, if you please.
Something you need, Nan?
Her ladyship requests you stay a few more days.
Did she say why?
To discuss a more permanent position at Clawmoor. I believe she has Lord Lucas in mind.
Ah, I see.
Your service to the family hasn't gone unnoticed by her.
I don't mind staying long enough to have a conversation.
She'll make sure you're compensated for any inconvenience.
That's kind of her, but unnecessary. I'm happy to speak to her.
Very good. We're about to have a bite to eat before we ready the drawing room for Mr. Kirozar. Would you care to join us?
I'd like that, thank you. What's happening in the drawing room?
The reading of Lord Clawmoor's last wishes.
Of course.
If they dismiss us, they have to give us a reference, right? Right?
We're done for.
We don't know that. For now, we carry on.
Lady Josephine doesn't have an ounce of interest in Clawmoor except to sell it. You've got your head in the sand, Mr. Crispin.
I wouldn't worry. You don't know the Doris like I do.
And how would you know so much about the Daras, Hallen?
Anything you can ride, I can drive, my boy.
That's more than any of us wanted to know.
All I'm saying is Doris prefer convenience. When they take over Clawmoor, they'll want to keep those of us who already know how to do our jobs.
I, for one, won't get caught up in wishful thinking. I said it once, I'll say it again. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
And how are we supposed to do that, Mrs. Bryant?
By reaching out to friends and family and other houses now before the axe falls.
Why wouldn't the guild take care of us?
Ah, Nan, Miss Quinn, join us.
I wouldn't want to rely on the guild. Sure, the League will know about vacancies, but what if it's an Astus Willow estate? What are you going to say then?
You'll never see me cooking in an Astus Willow house.
Perry, be a dear and pass them the bread and cheese?
Here you go, ladies.
Thank you, Perry. What's wrong with an Astis Willow contract?
You're letting your Crown Hall College show there, Miss Agatha.
The family has a certain reputation among the League of Glove and Key that they often demand a level of service many are unwilling to provide.
I don't know about that. I had a friend assigned to Kronbold House who said working there was very exciting.
Let's ask this Willow speak for life-threatening.
I'm sure it's just rumors.
Rumors. Oh, I fully respect your profession, Miss Quinn, but there are some things only butlers know about the homes they serve.
Oh, sounds like Mr. Crispin has a story.
You didn't hear this from me. But I know the butler at Kronbold House, and she says the lord there has sunk a fortune into a laboratory where he conducts heinous experiments on some sort of ruinous monster. A monster, this butler tells me, that is actually Lady Astis's first husband.
No, that can't be true.
For a second.
Oh, I absolutely believe it.
I'm with Hallen. There's something wrong with that house.
Do we even know if Lady Astis has had more than one husband?
Well...
What did I tell you?
Oh, out with it, Miss Quinn.
Please understand, I specialize in places, not people. That being said, there's evidence that a young Leonora Astis with her cousins got it into their heads to, how do I put this? Peruse the decor at an abandoned royal estate.
You mean filching some antiques to call their own?
I am, yes, thank you. So they contracted a pair of seasoned ruin hunters from the Piedmont Accord to escort them. They did manage to find the place and then wrote their own invitation inside.
You mean broke in?
I do. Though by the description, the estate was mostly empty or already picked over. So the party grew bored and returned home. But Leonora and one agent remained. They spent years there reclaiming the property from ruin.
Apparently, Lady Astis really knew how to polish that piece bad.
Hallen.
Too far, too far.
The point is, it wouldn't surprise me if the family hid her marriage to a truefolk.
Not that I don't appreciate good jokes at an aristo's expense, but I'm more concerned about keeping my job.
I put my trust in Lady Josephine to do right by the house.
So we're sure it's going to be Lady Josephine?
Most certainly.
Were you able to get her to agree?
No, I wasn't. There really wasn't enough time. But I agree with Mr. Crispin. The Baron was adamant about bequeathing Clawmoor to Lady Josephine.
That probably doesn't bode well, then.
Well, by tonight we'll know for certain what will happen. Until then, as Mr. Crispin says, carry on. If we must reckon with the worst, I'll organize a meeting to pool our resources and our contacts. I'll make sure each one of us comes out of tonight with a plan. Until then, we need to ready the drawing room. The family will be home soon.
Yes, Mrs.
Yes, Mrs. Bryant. Hey, Agatha, can I talk to you outside for a second?
Of course. Lead the way.
So, rumor has it you're packed and leaving soon?
Word travels fast among the staff.
Yeah, well, in the League, a mark of excellence is anticipating a person's needs. And since we can't read minds, keeping an eye on everyone is the next best thing.
Seems reasonable, even if it feels a little like spying.
We'd call it paying attention.
Very different then.
Completely. Anyway, before you left, I wanted to...
Oh, I'm not leaving yet.
You're not?
No. Lady Clawmoor has asked me to stay to discuss a more permanent position.
She has?
I'm not sure if that's something I'll want to do.
Oh, why not?
It appears she's thinking of contracting me as a tutor for Lord Lucas. And he isn't someone I'd like to spend much time with.
I know it's probably too late for this, but he hasn't had it as easy as it seems.
You don't need to make excuses for him.
I know. And he hurt your family, I get that. Though, I'd put my money on her ladyship for your father's firing. I doubt Lord Lucas had anything to do with it.
Why are you defending him?
I know what it's like to feel overlooked. He just... Well, think of it this way. You have a father who never believed in you and now never will. Your siblings are indifferent to your existence, and your mother has pinned all of her hopes and dreams on you becoming something you're not. Everywhere he goes, he's surrounded by narcissists doing everything they can to ignore reality. Given all that, you can't succeed. And then you turn resentful and take that resentment out on everyone who isn't you.
When someone shows you who they are, Perry, believe them.
He doesn't treat you kindly because he's never been taught how.
His past might explain his behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. It's unfair to expect me to show—
I'm not expecting anything, Agatha. I'm not. I liked the idea of you being around here longer, that's all.
I don't have any details.
I understand. Yeah. So I should probably go help the others.
I didn't mean anything, but—
I know. It's all right. Just, work to be done.
Of course.
And did you meet with the Dowager Baroness?
Briefly, as the family assembled in the drawing room.
Did your assumption prove true? That her ladyship wanted to engage you for Lord Lucas's education?
It did. She also made it clear she hoped I would reestablish a connection with Mr. Cassius Dara.
So, despite the unfortunate fate of Lord Clawmoor, she remained consistent in the offer she made to you at tea.
She mentioned that my actions during the ball proved my trustworthiness to her, and that she considered me an ally in her cause.
Which was?
To secure a future for both her and Lord Lucas at Clawmoor Heights. She believed wholeheartedly in her strategy as a solution, aligning the wishes of everyone involved.
And what about yours? You had reservations about taking on Lord Lucas as a student, but you agreed to her proposal nonetheless.
I did.
Why?
I'd really rather not answer that.
What is there to hide? Why did you agree to the Dowager's contract?
My curiosity outweighed my better judgment. I had to know more about Cordelia Valgreave.
You acknowledge, then, that you leveraged the trust and confidence the Valgreave family placed in you. That you used the generosity of Lady Clawmoor to conduct research for personal profit.
If one were to interpret my actions in the strictest, most narrow sense, it could indeed seem that way, yes. Which I don't feel warrants my unbonding. Disciplinary action, possibly. Was it somewhat misleading? It was, and I am prepared to live with that blemish on my reputation.
And if that was the only grievance, perhaps we could reach a compromise. Except something happened during the executor's reading of Lord Clawmoor's will. What was that?
As the Valgreave family and senior staff gathered in the drawing room, I retreated to a window seat, where heavy drapes blocked all but a sliver of light from passing through. I had hoped the curtain would hide me, to spare me the sensation of feeling like an interloper. Nevertheless, Lord Stellan approached and stood near me, wordless. He nudged the curtain wider by an inch to watch the setting sun bleed crimson and orange across the horizon.
It's strange, isn't it? How his death has changed everything and nothing.
The day's strain was visible in his dark, disheveled hair and melancholic eyes. I sensed he wanted to talk, but I was at a loss for what to say or how to respond. I eventually offered a feeble, "My condolences for your loss."
Thank you. My grief feels inappropriate.
Why is that?
I've spent days wondering the same. It feels selfish. When everyone has lost so much, shedding tears over an old man who lived a full life somehow seems indulgent.
You're allowed to grieve your father.
Perhaps. May I join you?
Of course.
People only care about ruin, and even then, only the cause.
We're so preoccupied with what it does to us, we rarely notice what it takes from us.
The illusion of permanence. We take for granted the familiar aspects of our lives, assuming they'll always be there.
That's what keeps me up at night, thinking about how much will slip through our fingers between the time I close my eyes and open them the next morning. Answers to the questions of who we are, why we're here, where we came from. How many discoveries just fell forever beyond our reach because I needed sleep?
And we won't even know to ask what was there before. Is that why you became a historian?
I suppose you could say it's my personal rebellion against the ruin, preserving what I can for as long as I can, and if it isn't too impertinent for me to say, I think that's what your father wanted with Clawmoor.
To preserve a piece of history?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what mattered to him.
Then what did?
My mother. He wanted to make sure she'd always have a place to live.
You mean the Baroness?
No. I mean my mother.
Lord Stellan, I
know you know. And I would appreciate your continued discretion.
I don't think that's wise.
It may not be wise, but for now it's a necessity. You must keep this to yourself.
You realize that's not your mother.
I don't know what it is or isn't. Regardless, my father believed it was, and he couldn't let her go.
But that means there's ruin here.
I know what it means. It's a secret Rodina and I keep close.
Mr. Dara was with me.
I am in the midst of ensuring his silence.
You're putting people at risk.
I have the situation contained. The only reason it escaped was because of my father. He couldn't bear the thought of keeping her. It locked away or imprisoned.
But Lord Stellan, that's not the first time I saw her. During that storm when you saw me at the doors, that's who I saw outside.
A figment of your imagination. It plays tricks on the mind.
I don't think that's the case.
It is the case. She goes to great lengths.
Thank you all for coming together.
We can discuss it later. For now, I insist on your silence.
You have my silence, but we must speak later. You're underestimating the danger.
You act as if you know more about the dangers of this house than I do.
Perhaps I do.
Not long before Lord Clawmoor passed, he wrote a letter. He signed it, sealed it, and placed it in my care to be read in the event of his death. Per his instructions, I read that letter now. To my love, Rodina, and to my children, Josephine, Stellan, and Lucas. As I pen this letter, my heart is heavy.
As I pen this letter, my heart is heavy. The thought of being apart from you is a feeling words fail to capture. It pains me deeply knowing that you will face the burdens of our time alone. And I have considered it my purpose to prepare you for what lies ahead. And even though I have always had the best of intentions, I acknowledge my faults, and I hope you will forgive me for them. My love and commitment to you runs through me wholly and completely, down to the marrow in my bones. And it was my hope to bequeath Clawmoor to one of my children upon my passing, to spare them any confusion or strife. But I simply cannot allow my home, the place where I found love not once but twice, the place where I raised my children, the place where I died, to be sold like livestock and eaten by Daras. Therefore, the barony of Clawmoor, including the land it sits upon, all enterprises that operate on said land, our percentage of the Valgreave treasury, and all privileges therein, I bequeath to no one.
Excuse me, what is this?
He goes on to say, as a family, you must decide what is to become of Clawmoor. In love and fidelity, Tiberius Valgreave.
That can't be. Clawmoor's mine. Let me see that. What does this mean? I thought he was going to... He can't be serious. I don't understand what this means. What does this mean?
It means he gave you nothing.
Clawmoor Heights stars Kate Siegel, Indira Varma, Byron Mann, Shannon Uphold, Jay Sullivan, Sean Patrick Judge, and Jovan Jackson. Written and directed by Rachel J. Wilkinson. Original music composition by Brian Michael Fuller. Recorded by Mark Zamora. Sound design by Kay Wilder and Rachel J. Wilkinson. Mix and mastering by Brian Michael Fuller. Clawmoor Heights is a Studio Hermitage production. Visit us at ourbrilliantruin.com.